week in racing. It's time to recap it. And who better to do it than Michael New Magic? Two bros/pros who cover the highs and lows of racing around the globe on every one of their shows. Real fans look forward to these guys and their last thoughts, cause they know they're not talking out of their royal ascot. What they say makes sense. So ladies and gents, sit back and relax as Blinkers Off presents The Magic Mike Show, where you hear the experts speak. The Magic Mike Show. Tune into the show every week. The Magic Mike Show. You can trust the show is the bomb because it's being brought to you by RacingDudes.com.
What's up, everybody? I'm Magic.
And I'm Mike.
And this is The Magic Mike Show, episode 296. Mr. Samich. How you doing today, buddy? You're looking good in Saratoga. You got the nice muted soft colors on, the polo. How's it going for you?
It's going great, man. It's going great. I was awesome to be at the track. It was amazing to be here. I had a family reunion this weekend. I know some people, we have these matching shirts. I'm sure some people saw them on Fox Sports. My wife's family has a tradition. Every time someone gets married, you have a kickball game. Wife's family versus the husband's family. So we then made matching T-shirts for this kickball game. And then everyone got a number, which was the number that you entered the family. So my grandfather was 1, my grandmother was 2. I'm number 13. Jenna's number 26. Lily's number 30. We're up to 38 now. So there's just more and more of these people. So we had 30 Samiches all running around running around wearing that shirt on Saturday at the track. It was an absolute blast, man. It was the best thing I saw. I'm gonna jump into it because I already have. Saturday at the track is just one of those experiences at Saratoga that everyone has to do. We got there at 5 a.m. to run for tables. We had a bunch of Samiches who did that. It was freaking freezing that morning. The gates open at 7. Everyone just flows in, pours in. You know, the first weekend didn't seem like it was that crowded. But, man, Saratoga is packed now. That was one of the larger crowds I've ever seen on Jim Dandy Day. It was awesome to be there, to be in the back, the back area, the picnic area, to have everyone going crazy for every race. It's just a lot of fun to be back at Saratoga on a big-time Saturday. And I'm excited to talk about some of the performances we saw up there this weekend because we saw some horses just absolutely show out all weekend. So it was a lot of great racing, great times with the family, but it was great to just feel that feeling again, to be there on a big-time Saturday at Saratoga.
Dude, I didn't get to see it because Slim texted the group I think it was Slim, that you were on, that the Samich family was on live TV. I watched the track feeds, and that was the one time that it really didn't work out for me. I missed that. Do you remember how far into the day it was, or around what race? Because I can find it on the YouTube replay show.
I actually do, and there's a funny story around this. So it was right before the 4th race or right after the 4th race, not sure which one. Okay. I think it was right before the 4th race. It was right before they cut to the paddock. The funny thing is I know this because we have a family fantasy football league, and the loser has to wear a pink bunny suit. And generally it's like run into the track in a giant pink bunny suit. Well, we had COVID and we didn't have a family reunion 2 years ago. We had 3 people that had to wear the bunny suit this year. So my brother-in-law, Josh, had to wear the bunny suit and hop to a table when the gates opened. Then my cousin, Frank, had to wear the bunny suit for the first 4 races. And yours truly had to put it on in the 5th.
Oh.
So I was wearing a 5th through 9th race. You may have seen me in a pink bunny suit at Saratoga if you'd been there. But I knew when we were on TV because I wasn't in the bunny suit. I was next to the guy in the bunny suit on the show. So that's the way that I know what race it was.
Race 4. All right, I'll have to look for that after this show. If anybody watching live, if you guys know the exact timestamp or something, let me know. It's because the New York Racing Association now puts their TV broadcasts are now on their YouTube show, like they're on their YouTube channel. So it's like a 6-hour-long video. So if you want to go find it, that's where it's at right there.
Yeah, it's great actually. I watch that YouTube feed quite a bit when I'm like driving around. I wouldn't do it when I'm driving, but I might have the audio on. We'll put it that way. 'Cause it's a lot easier to get YouTube to stay on than like any of the ADWs. They always they go off. I don't understand. Just leave my feed on if I have the ADW on. But no, they turn them off on your phone. It's not cool.
It is great. Yeah, and I love to watch things on YouTube. And if I don't have if I don't want to watch the Hulu's channel, or if Hulu's screwing up on the TV, I can just put the YouTube app on the TV. It works really well too. Best thing that I saw comes from earlier this morning. Ed DeRosa, who works for Twin Spires. I don't know if you saw this, Mike.
I did.
Steve
I know
Asmussen.
where you're going.
If you're not paying attention, Steve Asmussen is almost tied Dale Baird for leader of all-time wins trained in North America in history. This is like Steve Asmussen is about to make history very soon. Unfortunately, I think it's going to come at something like Evangeline Downs or somewhere where I wish it had happened. Steve, hold off for a little bit. Just wait until Saratoga or Del Mar or something. Do it at a big track where we can all
Lots
celebrate.
of scratches until Wednesday. Scratch everybody till Wednesday. Let's do it at Saratoga.
But anyway, so Ed went through and did a lot of work to. He was breaking down Steve Asmussen's 9,443 wins that he has as of this morning. He breaks it down by jockey. Obviously, Ricardo Santana Jr. is his number one jockey with 797. Sean Bridgman, that was a cool name, 658 right behind him. And it's not just that Ed found the top people. He also found like the bottom. So Gary Stevens, 0 for 13 in his career. and he tags him. He calls him out. You never won for Steve Asmussen is about to be the winningest trainer in history. You couldn't win on him. Come on, Gary. You're supposed to be a Hall of Fame jockey. Breaks it down by purses. Santana 57 million, a lot of that Breeders' Cup and other like really big days. By track, Lone Star. I was a little surprised that Lone Star was the top one. I don't know about you, Mike. I was gonna guess actually it was gonna be Remington, which is second there.
I wasn't surprised that there's no California track and that the best New York track's Aqueduct.
Oh my goodness, you're right. Oh boy. Well, I'm sure come winter we're gonna have plenty to talk about there. Did he break it down by surface? I didn't get that far, as I want to know if he broke it down by turf, because I feel like that's what you would have.
You know what the best thing he did? I don't know if they broke it down by surface or not. You know what the best thing I saw in that entire sequence though? The number one owner he's trained for, himself. He's owned the most winners that he has trained, which I thought was pretty darn cool because he claims he has his own barn and he runs them, and he actually won the most races for himself in his career, which I thought was awesome.
Oh, that's funny. He's 11 for 15 when the horses are odds on like 1 to 20 when you're going to get a 210 back. 11 for 15. What are the 4 he lost? I wonder.
That's not great. Not gonna lie.
He's also 0 for 1 at 237 to 1. So, anyways, fun facts. If you're paying attention, especially during the midweek, the stuff to really pay attention for is Steve Asmussen is about to break that record, and so start paying attention to the little tracks if you haven't. Just watch when that happens because it's gonna be pretty damn special. I don't know if we'll ever see it again in our lifetime. It seems like the amount of races is contracting each year, so this might be the last time we see that. So go ahead and check that out.
You also have to have someone who's just a maniac. I mean, and I'm not saying that as a negative thing. I'm saying that as a positive thing. To be able to run horses at Lone Star Park, at Remington Park, at Churchill, at Saratoga, and to be able to run at all these different levels and to have $5,000 claimers and have Jackie's Warrior both in your barn is astounding. I mean, you have to have so many people you trust to run these different areas, but then you also have to train so many people in how you're doing it so that each one is successful, because you can't possibly have your hand in every single cookie jar. You're too busy if you're doing that. So it's so impressive to see him have success at all these different levels, all these different racetracks, and want to be in the claiming game still, because he still claims horses for himself in Texas and runs them back. I mean, it's absolutely astonishing that he's able to be so successful everywhere.
Aaron reporting live. He's currently 8-5 with 8 minutes to post at Louisiana Downs in the opener. Aaron, keep us posted on that one. We'll see if we can hit that. Maybe, I don't know. He probably doesn't have enough runners today to hit that number, but we'll find out. Anyways, on today's show, like Mike said earlier, we're going to be talking about the fun racing weekend at Saratoga. Also talk a little Del Mar. We got some one burning questions coming up regarding a bunch of different topics, so it's going to be a lot of fun. Let's get into it, Mike. Riders up. All right, Mike, first race we're going to take a look at Essential Quality, your Belmont Stakes champion, your undefeated juvenile champion, only career loss in the Kentucky Derby, almost made his second loss on Saturday in the Jim Dandy Stakes. Keep me in mind with it. Extremely heads-up ride from Joel Rosario, skimming the rail perfectly in the stretch. Almost got the job done. Essential Quality. It looked like his class prevailed. I thought Aaron Halterman did a fantastic job on the live stream of breaking down how Essential Quality proved in that race that he's the smartest horse in training, at least in this 3-year-old crop. So it was very impressive that he was able to get the job done. My one burning question for you, Mike, looking ahead to the Travers now on August 28th, how did Essential Quality's performance in the Jim Dandy affect your opinion of his chances when we come to the Travers?
To me, this was actually a phenomenal performance. I think a lot of people, I was shocked to hear a lot of people say, oh, it wasn't that great. Oh, we got a 98 buyer. A lot of times we talk on this show how you see false buyers where it's like it just comes up as a 97, 98, but it really is more like a 92 or 93. This is a 98 that really is like a 106. I don't think enough people are talking about the trip that he got on both turns where he was hung 5 wide in a 5-horse field in the first turn. He ends up going 4 or 5 wide on the second turn, and keep me in mind, goes right through the rail. I mean, he lost so much ground to what Keep Me in Mind was able to do. And we talk about this as well. I loved the ride. I think the ride was right. You had the best horse. Stay in the clear. Don't get yourself in any type of trouble and let the best horse win. In this case, the best horse prevailed, and he was probably 10 to 15 lengths better than Keep Me in Mind when you take into account the trips that the two of them had. I mean, it was a phenomenal performance from Essential Quality when eyeball to eyeball with a horse and was able to get by. So you have that heart that are able to stay in front. So you have that heart that you like to see in the racehorse as well. I'm hoping we get a better price on Essential Quality because of this. Because some people on TV were talking about, oh, well, now I want to take a shot at him in the Travers. This makes me want him to single him in the Travers. Because you're going to be a little bit more strategic in a larger field. You're not going to lose as much ground. I mean, I hope we get any type of price on him because I thought this was a phenomenal performance.
My one concern is I don't know how much of a price we'll get if we don't have Hot Rod Charlie. I'm guessing Brad Cox doesn't send Mandaloon to the Travers. Sounds like he wants to take it easy on him towards leading up to the Breeders' Cup Classic. I'm with you. I thought this was a really epic, great performance. Again, Aaron broke it down perfectly on the live stream this past Saturday, but Mike did a good job of recapping it. I liked that Luis Saez kept him in the clear. I felt that he, like you did, the instruction must have been keep him in the clear. The one thing you don't want to do as a jockey on the best horse is get in trouble in a 5-horse field because you're just going to get ripped apart after that. I thought that he did a great job of keeping him in the clear. He knew he had the best horse. And then Vinny says ran 39 more feet than Keep Me in Mind. That actually seems a little low. But Essential Quality, I love that Saez, when he came off the stretch and off the turn, and he was clear of Masked Parade, who was fading, he steered him over because they both have blinkers on, and you see Essential Quality's got some pretty good sized cups there on his eyes. He made sure Essential Quality knew there's a horse on the rail that's beating you, and you could see the moment Essential Quality saw him, that's when he re-engaged. He doesn't win by a football field, but he wins by enough, and he wins convincingly. So I'm with you. I thought this was a really great performance.
Yeah, we talk about hangers all the time, right? The horses that just can't seem to get by, and horses are pack animals by nature. I love seeing the leaders out of these some as well. And we don't give enough credit for horses like this who just want to win, and that's what Essential Quality did here. They're pack animals, but some of them want to be the ahead of the pack, and that's what we saw from Essential Quality. As soon as he knew he wasn't, he re-engaged and was able to kick on, and it was a nice win.
Question from Chris Mel in the chat. If no Mandaloon or Hot Rod, and then we know Ron Bauer's out until next year, until he's 4, is the Travers field going to be any good? I'm sure there'll be some interesting horses who go. Midnight Bourbon's probably not. I think it sounds like Asmussen wants to take it easy on him after what happened in the Haskell. I don't know. Who else is out there that really scares you? I mean, Dynamic One won the Curlin on Friday, and I don't think that scares anybody. Is there anyone who scares you with this?
I mean, the top two out of the Curlin, we're talking about the Travers. So that would be interesting if you see both of them. I'd be surprised if Keep Me in Mind doesn't go. I wouldn't be shocked if Mascapade doesn't go as well. So you might see 5 or 6 of the horses that were there at Saratoga this weekend entering the Travers. Other thing is, it's the Travers. And
That's
so
true.
You always get 2 or 3 horses. You're like, huh? Like, what are they doing here? And so I don't think they're going to have trouble having a large field. The quality of the field may come into a little more question because we are going to have that one big baller in Essential Quality, and then a lot of horses that just aren't that are going to kind of fill out this field, at least in my opinion. So I think we might get 8 or 9. We might have one horse who clearly is going to be the favorite. I hope people bet Keep Me in Mind off this race. I got no interest in Keep Me in Mind coming back. Yeah. I mean, I thought this was your chance. Everything broke right for you. You got a pace in front of you. You had Essential Quality go 5 wide. You got a dream rail trip. You couldn't get it done.
Before we get out of this topic, since 2000, 6 horses have completed the Jim Dandy Travers double. Let me read off these names for you so you can understand that if Essential Quality completes the Dandy Travers double, what kind of rarefied air he is in. Medaglia d'Oro in 2002. Flower Alley in 2005. He sired I'll Have Another, who won the Derby and the Preakness. Bernardini in 2006. We just lost him, RIP. Street Sense 2007. Stay Thirsty 2011, and Alpha, who happens to be by Bernardini, won it in a gold. Was it Golden Ticket? They dead heated in 2012.
Dead heat, right? Yep.
So, I mean, I could argue 5 out of. I mean, Alpha's standing in New York, but the other 5 are breed shaping to a certain degree, breed shaping sires. So Essential Quality, if he completes the double, is not only going to be the best horse of this 3-year-old crop. We're talking about the next potential breed shaping horse, and that's how special this could be, and how special this horse really could end up being.
Yeah, and we're going to see Maxfield and the Whitney. I think these are probably your 2 favorites right now in the Breeders' Cup Classic, if we get that far. So that'll be interesting to see there. I want to quickly answer Robert Witt's question here too. Mentions if it's a 10-horse field, does that put Essential Quality in more danger? I don't think so. I think the instructions were to go wide, go wide. I think it really was as simple as we don't care about the trip. We think we have the best horse with essential quality this weekend. With a 10-horse field, I think you'll see a little more tactical racing from Luis Saez, and he'll try and save ground in the first turn. The other thing with that, the Travers, it's a 1.25 miles versus the 1.1 miles with the Dandy, so you have more of a run up into that stretch. So you're going to first turn. So you're going to have more time to get position as well. So I think both of those factors will lead to less of an issue from a trip perspective if the field's 10 horses versus the 5 it was in the Jim Dandy.
I agree with you, and that's a great question. With 5-horse field, like Mike was saying, tactically, you can't lose contact with those front runners, or else you're going to have a gate-to-wire winner. He's not going to be able to catch him. In 10-horse field, it's a lot easier to be a little more strung out, and everybody's going to be too wide throughout the trip. But great question from Robert. Whoops, teased it there. Oh, let's move on to let's go to Del Mar on Sunday. Shedaresthedevil ships into town, wins the Clement Hirsch Stakes, a Grade 1 race. The reason this is important, Del Mar hosted the Distaff. Third Grade 1 win for Shedaresthedevil. Really consistent mare. I mean, over $2 million in earnings now. You'd love to own this horse like this, especially if you just bought her for $280,000. It's Brad Cox and Florent Giroux. Here's the thing. She got smoked by Latruska in the Ogden Phipps before this race. So, one burning question out of this race, we're looking at the Distaff division, Mike, as the division stands, post-Clement Hirsch. Where do you rank Shedaresthedevil?
Not in the top 3, most likely. I mean, I think Latruska is clearly way better than her. And I think that, look, the California older fillies are awful. Let's just be honest here. She smoked nothing in this field. And then the horse coming back, the Baffert horse, the 3-horse, was awful. And that was the horse that was like, well, maybe, we've got this one who turns the corner. I think Brad Cox found a soft spot here, sent her out there for the Clement Hirsch, and was able to win the race. But when you get her back in with the big girls on the East Coast, I just don't think she stacks up very well. So I'm still with the kind of the top tier mares in this group. And I'm going to kind of just say, hey, she obliterated a bad field, and she did it in style and looked impressive doing it. But it doesn't really make me think she's any better than I thought she was 3 days ago. It definitely doesn't make me think that, now she can compete with these East Coast horses who've been beating her.
Monomoy Girl, same jockey-trainer combination, two-time winner of the Distaff, is reportedly going to be going back to Brad Cox to resume training in about a week or two here, which is pretty great news. I feel like Flo's going to pick Monomoy Girl over Shedaresthedevil assuming they go to the Distaff together there. If Monomoy Girl comes back into the picture, let's say we got one prep like the Spinster, and then we go to the Distaff, do you think Monomoy Girl's got a strong chance to upset Latruska, or is right now Latruska just that much better?
God, that's a wild question considering where we started the year, right? Does Monomoy Girl have a chance to upset Latruska? You just said those words. That's
yeah.
Yeah, she does. Look, if Monomoy Girl goes back to her A game, she's the best horse or best filly or mare in training. Like, she should be the favorite there if she can show that she has that A game in her still. We have not seen the Monomoy Girl that made her so dominant in years past. We need to see that Monomoy Girl in that one prep. Or we need to see enough that we think that she can take a big step forward out of that one prep. So it'll be interesting. It'll be wild if a year after she absolutely rolls in the Breeders' Cup, you get her at 6-1 or something in the Distaff, which could legit happen. And honestly, I don't think that Brad Cox is sending her there if he doesn't think she can fire. That's the other thing that we should talk about. She has done everything she can for the ownership group, for Brad Cox as a trainer. There's no reason to push her beyond her means. If she comes back, runs a dud, and they send her to the Breeders' Cup anyway, I might be a little more scared of her because that means they still believe, right? Because there's nothing for her left to prove. There's no reason to do it if she's just going to get trounced.
And that's with, of course, Shedaresthedevil, now a 3-time Grade 1 winner in the same barn. Yeah, you don't send her there unless you think she's got a strong chance, but it'll be interesting to watch that moving forward. Speaking of things that are interesting to watch moving forward, Mike, the 3-year-olds, they kind of ran amok over the weekend versus themselves against the elders. They definitely stole all the headlines. Let's first take a look at Jackie's Warrior in the Amsterdam on Sunday at Saratoga. In the slop, going 21-43, gallop home 115 under his own power. No big deal, right? My one burning question, looking at the sprint division, how good is Jackie's Warrior? Jesus.
Man, I mean, that was so. Let's break it down, right? Wild performance, right? Absolutely flew over a sealed track at Saratoga, sloppy sealed track at Saratoga. Drained the clock, couldn't keep up the first half mile. In the moment, wildly impressed with this performance. And I still think Jackie's Warrior is incredible. We talk about, someone on the Derby trail getting back to what they're good at. That's what happened to Jackie's Warrior. You saw her try 2 turns. She's not a 2-turn. You saw him try 2 turns. He's not a 2-turn horse. look, when you watch that race back, we always talk about where do the other speed horses finish, right? In this case, the fact that Drain the Clock ended up running second in this race, I kind of want to take a little bit of step back. Now, the rest of the field, not amazing. I mean, you had River Dog, who's kind of one of those upside horses. You had Crowded Trade, who found himself in this spot. And you had two big-time prices, 24-1, 31-1 in a six-horse field. So I don't want to take too much away from Jackie's Warrior that because Drain the Clock ran second. But I do think speed was pretty darn good in this specific race. And so I want to kind of hit the pause button because we don't really have anything to compare this time against and compare to those early fractions against because it was a completely different track. They literally had a 30-minute delay before running this race.
Yeah.
So it was a completely different track than anything we'd seen earlier in the day. It may have just been faster. But all that being said, Drain the Clock is a damn good horse who's really fast early. And Jackie's Warrior made it look like Drain the Clock was standing still around the half-mile pole. Like just galloped away from it. So still a wildly impressive performance.
Yeah, just ridiculously good. We're going to talk about that jockey a little bit later. I don't want to get into it. That was not the only 3-year-old sprint winner over the weekend. Dr. Scheibel beat older horses at Del Mar and the Bing Crosby on Saturday. Mark Glatt, Flavien Prat, second straight year they teamed up with a 3-year-old to beat the olders. This one I thought was a little more impressive. Last year was Collusion Illusion, who benefited from an just absolute pace meltdown, picked everybody off. This one, he had to fight pretty hard with 8 rings, with CZ Rocket. I thought Pratt did an amazing job of keeping CZ Rocket behind him at all times, and that was key. Pretty good effort from him here. Did you have any quick thoughts on Dr. Scheibel and the Bing Crosby?
I mean, I thought it was really impressive. The buyer came back not that great, which I thought was kind of surprising. I think he ended up getting a 90 buyer for the race, which seemed it was really low. Yeah, seemed a little bit low, especially coming off the 97 to start. I think the pace really helped Dr. Scheibel here. When you looked at that, there were 3 or 4 early pace, and a lot of times these sprints you have this early pace horses, and it really set up for Dr. Scheibel to be able to go around the outside and pick them up and lay it down. Obviously beat CZ Rocket, so that definitely means something. That horse is one of the top contenders in the sprint division. Be interested to see where Dr. Scheibel goes next and what we see from him. I'd like to see 1 or 2 more steps forward, but never a bad thing to win a win you're in when you're at the track that the Breeders' Cup is going to be at.
Yeah, 3 for 3 at the track now. I'm extremely happy about this because a good friend of mine co-bred the horse and still has a very tiny ownership percentage in the horse. So this was especially awesome, I thought, for me, because I was like, oh, this is the horse of my friend. But with the mare that he's owned, that's turned out a couple of $5,000 claimers. So for the horse to be turning out as good as he is like this, for a guy that just loves, he's kind of like Asmussen without he doesn't have the huge stable, but he just loves to play the game and keep the game going. It's pretty great. We also had the
son of violence.
Exactly. Alexitonian in the Vanderbilt. This one really hurt because it knocked us both out of the pick 4 sequence to start. The late pick 4 that we covered, especially because I had special reserve in second. We have to talk about that. Lexitonian getting the job done on a big day for Jack Sisterson. That's always an angle for me. I'm really mad about that. And then we also had our old buddy Mucho finally won a stakes race for the first time since he was our first round draft pick in 2018 for the Fantasy League. He wins the Chaladon Stakes at Pimlico. I bring this up not because of the connection to the Fantasy League. They're going to send this horse to the Breeders' Cup Sprint too. So I bring all of that up because I have one burning bonus question for you. Looking at the sprint division as a whole, is a 3-year-old going to win this year's Breeders' Cup Sprint?
Ooh. Am I allowed to pick Whitmore still? Man. It's Jackie's Warrior for me if a 3-year-old does win it. I'm going to go no.
So I got some, just so that you know, I did a little bit of research on this. It's like, how often does a 3-year-old win that race? Since the 37 years that they've had the Breeders' Cup Sprint, a 3-year-old has won it 9 times. That's 24%. The last 2 to do it, Run Happy in 2015, Dreyfong in 2016. So there is some penchant for it, but we also got to see what else happens. Again, we've said it before, but the sprint division can be very volatile, and you got to try and find out who's peaking at the right moment. And even then, sometimes it's which horse is trying this for the 4th time. Okay, now I guess it's his turn to win. Everybody will let him get the job done.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun division. Bo Liam Chris mentioned that one in the chat. That horse obviously looked really impressive at Saratoga a couple weekends ago. Be interesting with Bo Liam and Jackie's Warrior, who are by the same trip, who both are Askerson horses, both want to be on the front end. What they would do if they both ended up in the Breeders' Cup Sprint. And Lexingtonian, look, that horse was gettable if you got creative with the race. And I unfortunately said on the show, I'm not going to get creative in the race, and that's what really sucked. Because like if you get creative in that race, you can get to Lexingtonian. It wasn't that difficult of a horse, especially at 34-1 to get there. So I look back and it's like, well, we could have hit the all button and gone shorter in the second leg and gotten it home, and that would have worked. But I couldn't get that creative with it. It was kind of a bummer. And the other horse for Sisterson let you down, man. I mean, that's the thing. You used him in the turf at 5-2, and you didn't use him in the sprint at 34-1, and it's the 34-1 shot that makes it home.
It's the second time that's happened to me with Sisterson. I go, it's Sisterson a big day, and he's got 2 in the sequence that we're covering, and I picked the wrong damn one. Jack, I'm sorry. I'm just going to just pick Jack Sisterson horses from here on out. That's the lesson I learned.
That was an interesting race, too, because at Special Reserve, obviously you picked Special Reserve. You were on him. I was against him there because I thought the speed was too much. You could just see him get tired down the lane. I mean, he seemed like he just kind of ran out of gas there. And he really 6 furlongs is his best distance, but that is long as that horse can go. When you get to 6.5 or 7, he's really sucking wind. And they went fast early there. And Lexingtonian just had a little more left in the tank.
Speaking of horses that didn't have enough in the tank to get the job done, Mike, there's a horse that you seem to really not be able to quit.
Ran second. It ran second. I had the winner.
Oh boy! And if we could do place pick all for the pick 4 sequence, Mike, you would have cashed a couple weeks ago at Del Mar. Unfortunately, doesn't happen here. The Bowling Green Stakes Cross Border wins, defends his title. This time he actually wins it, not because poor Sadler's Joy got picked on and disqualified unfairly. Very impressive effort from the New York bred Rockemperor, who you picked on top, who Aaron picked on top, who Jared picked. Jared put this great promotional video together for Rockemperor. Doesn't win. So my one burning question out of the Bowling Green: how many more times are you going to let Rockemperor burn you?
Well, see, I don't feel that burnt because I had Cross Border here. I didn't take the Channel Mules, and I played Cross Border and the 4 and the 8 who ran 3rd and the 7 who didn't do a lick running, but that's beside the point. Look, this race wasn't terrible from Rockemperor. No, I'm not going to use this horse in a grade 1 anymore. Done. No more grade 1s. I will allow to use this horse if it's a grade 2, possibly.
This was a grade 2.
I know we're not going to talk about that. I'm giving myself a chance to use this horse again at this level. Cross Border, one of these horses. This is something we got to talk about. Mike Maker on freaking fire right now, leading the trainer standings at Saratoga. Just everything he puts out is running out of its mind right now at Saratoga. And this horse specifically, and the turf course at Saratoga, I think is extremely relevant. Now 6 for 7 over this turf course with 1 second place, so that's not too bad either. Over the Saratoga turf, there are horses for courses at Saratoga. See 4-star Dave if you want to see one. And Cross Border seems like he is another one here now with 6 wins and 7 starts.
I just can't believe, and I got so much shit from Jared, so much unnecessary shit because I was fading Rockemperor, therefore Rockemperor is going to win. I just sat in the background and watched and laughed. That's all.
It's not like the horse ran bad. I mean, that's the thing. It's one thing if the horse ran off the track, and then I would be like, okay,
that would be better if he was last in this race. That'd be better for all of us.
Well, I mean, that's much easier to quit him. I mean, that's definitely true. But I had this horse in the $5 ticket. Unfortunately, the Lexingtonian let me down in that first leg, man. Well, he didn't let me down. Mischievous Alex let me down, running an absolute clunker. No idea where that race came from. He looked like he was set up, turning for home.
You know what's been, aside from Steve Asmussen chasing the wins record, another thing that's happening in horse racing is that first, one of the veterans in the Navarro service case that was federally charged has suddenly turned the not guilty plea over. Now Jorge Navarro has turned the not guilty plea over, is expected to do that. Saffie Joseph just suddenly went ice cold. I cannot figure out what is the correlation there. I really don't know. Is there a correlation between those two? I'm not really sure, Mike. I'll just have to think about that one.
Can I do a burning question?
Sure.
All right, one burning question. Who's more likely to win a title this year at Saratoga? Mike Baker as the trainer or Luis Saez as the jockey?
Ooh. Oh, that's a great question.
Isn't it, though?
Maker's leading right now, you said?
Maker is in the lead right now, and Saez is either leading or just behind Irad.
I'm going to go with Maker just because I think the jockey like the jockey strength is higher than the trainer strength at Saratoga. They're both extremely high, but I think because you got both Ortiz brothers and Velasquez and Manny Franco and the bell curve on a good day, I think it's a lot tougher there.
Okay, I can accept that. I can accept that. I mean, the thing is, like, Brown and Pletcher have to be charged at some point, right? You're going to have to see those two barns get hot, or you expect to. And someone, I think it was Kitchen actually made this comment. I thought it was a pretty good one. Maker's going to run out of levels to run some of these horses at. The first race at Saratoga at the meet is a great spot, but now all your non-winners of 1 allowance horses are non-winners of 2 allowance horses. All your maidens are now non-winners of 1. You're taking that step up, and he doesn't have the depth of a barn that you see from Brown and Pletcher, where they can run 2 or 3 out at all these different levels. So I think it's going to be interesting to see how both Saez fares and Maker fares coming down the stretch here. But I would love to see Saez win the jockey title. I think that'd be absolutely incredible. Oh,
yeah, he's having such a great couple of years. Really, ever since he came prominence with Maximum Security, he's just been really steady. To me, he's right. You could comment better than me because you watch a lot more often, but I rarely will sit here and second guess a Saez ride. Like we talked about with the Jim Dandy with Central Quality, we didn't second guess it because we both looked at that and thought, I think that's what he was told to do, which means it was a great ride. I trust him more than any jockey. How would I put it that way? Like I feel like I know what he's going to do, and I think he generally does the correct thing. He sends speed horses. He doesn't rate them. He doesn't play bully ball like Irad plays, and you get taken down every now and then with by far the best horse. He's not a bell curve where he gives the best ride ever and the worst ride ever. He's pretty consistent in that sense. He can ride on the front. He can ride from behind. He's good on the dirt. He's good on the turf. He feels to me like the one that you can trust. You know what I mean? But it's that friend that you always have a good time with, but you never have that crazy night with, right? You know, but you're always having fun when you're hanging out with them. And rarely do you wake up the next morning with a headache. It's funny you're talking about jockeys because I do have one last one that I want to talk about.
Why are you the way that you are? Honestly, every time I try to do something fun or exciting, you make it not that way. I hate so much about the things that you choose to be.
Why, bell curve? Why?
He's so good.
Okay, here's the thing. Saturday, he gets second in all 3 of the greatest stakes races on Saturday. Great rides, didn't get the job done. You go to Sunday, 3 straight wins, including, I mean, I think you and I could have won aboard Jackie's Word in the Amsterdam, but like he got 3 straight wins. I'm just like, wait, why couldn't you have done this on Special Reserve? Why couldn't you have gotten me that 1 win on Special Reserve? I'm not sure. I'm just mad about it. That's all I did this for. I'm just mad about it. The one thing I would say is at least those rides were all good rides. He had a couple just head scratchers too earlier in the card on some, like I think one was on a 2-year-old, but he had some of those rides where you're just like, oh boy, okay, we're gonna rate that horse. All right, sounds good. Oh, we're just going to get in trouble here? Okay, sounds good. And he had one horse absolutely pinned in. I think it was a 4 on Sunday where the horse he had like 8 lengths the best horse and gets out like halfway through the stretch. It's like, just go 3 wide, dude. You'd be totally fine going 3 wide. You win this. It's just some of the decision-making is just head scratching. But then you have just beautiful rides on some of these other horses too. Like the Keep Me in Mind ride was exceptional. To be able to understand that you need to wait, and the only way you were beating Essential Quality was to get through that rail. Just a really heady, smart ride. But then you come back and you see some of these others, and it's just like, dude, come on. This consistency. That's all we're looking for here.
Can I have a word with you, please? Why?
If I ever meet Joel Rosario, that's what it's going to go. Well, I've met him, but if I ever see him again, that's what that's going to turn into. Why? That's going to do it for this episode of the Magic Mike Show. Thanks for joining Mike and I for a fun Monday talking horses. All the action at Del Mar and Saratoga. If you missed the replays, you can head over to racenews.com. Got a full chart of all the replays and the recaps up available for you from Del Mar, Saratoga, Pimlico, Gulfstream, Monmouth, wherever the hell else we were racing. There was a lot of tracks racing this weekend. It's all up there on racenews.com. Mike, you're going to be off on Thursday, right? You're taking off this Thursday show.
Yeah, I will be at a golf tournament in upstate New York, swinging the sticks, hopefully shooting somewhere in the low 80s, but we'll see how that goes. But we'll have the sound bombs for this weekend, so I'm getting those done, and we'll have those up for Saratoga on Friday and Saturday, probably Del Mar on Saturday as well, and then Sunday we'll decide where to go. We had Saratoga on Sunday with Hit the Pick 5. That was kind of nice to make it a little bit of a plus weekend there, and then we had a free Del Mar grid up on Sunday as well, so we're trying to throw more of those free grids up. I'm not sure if you know this, Magic. This might be breaking news for you, too. I'm a full-time dude employee now. So I'm going to have a lot more content that's going to be popping up. I'm going to start writing again. Yeah, pretty cool stuff. So
I mean, yay!
Yeah, don't worry. You get to figure out double spacing and misspelled words for mine now. So I'm pretty pumped, man. So we're gonna have more content out, more free grids, more writing stuff. So it's gonna be pretty cool.
God, Aaron's been waiting. This is what Aaron's been sitting on for months. He and I used to have. Aaron, by the way, I know you're in the chat. I miss you. We used to have monthly chats. What happened? We used to talk all the time. And he told me about the that he's like, oh yeah, and then Samich probably told you the big news too, right? And I was like, oh no, he didn't. He's like, oh well, it's not mine to tell. He can tell you. And this is like February or March. I'm like, I think you had just won a big tournament or handicapping tournament or something, and I was like, is he parlaying that into? I don't know. I've just been sitting here waiting.
Yep. So that's pretty cool. We're also going to have a couple new avenues of revenue, which I'm pretty excited about too. So we're going to start doing some cool handicapping things. First one's probably going to be right before the Breeders' Cup. So got a bunch of cool stuff in the pipe. I'm excited to jump on board and see what we can do to kind of make this keep growing. I'm
excited for it. Well, great. Now I got to figure out what all this means for me. Thanks, Aaron. Appreciate it. No, I'm just kidding. That's awesome. Congrats. Welcome to so your number. So if we had Racing Dudes shirts, like your family has softball shirts, you would have number 4.
I think so. I mean, there's an argument around Papa Dude. Does he get one? Slim probably beats both of us.
He was never full-time. We're talking full-time people.
Yeah, then I would be number 4, I bet, yeah.
Slim can have number 0. He was like the original, the OG. You can have that.
So we have double zeros if you are dating someone in the family but not yet married into it. So there are double 0 shirts as well.
Does it just have is the nameplate just like one of those ones you can just like rip off or sew back on real quick as they like trade out?
No, we make them pay for it. They got to buy their own double 0.
That's awesome. So anyway, since Mike is going to be off on Thursday, I have a special guest lined up. Andrew Champagne, if you are familiar with Andrew Champagne on horse racing Twitter, he's a great handicapper, and I know that because he hit the late pick 4 ticket, Mike, that we missed on. He hit it for $12.
Wow.
He hit that goddamn or $12 or $16. I mean, I had it for $28 and missed on it. He hit it for less, and we also had somebody, I forget who it was. Shit, it's gonna kill me. It's somebody in the chat. Somebody in the chat that was there on Saturday was able to handle that. So or got that done. I forget who it was. Shit, it's killing me now.
Rob pretty much crushed.
Oh my God, yes.
Pretty much one of the best tickets I've ever seen. $12 ticket for $1, I believe it was. And it ended up paying out $53,000 for the cross country pick 5. I mean, absolutely phenomenal ticket.
Kevin, that's who it was. Yeah, sorry. Rob hit like $56K off of not even $100 ticket, right? That was a ridiculously cheap ticket that I thought Rob had. Are you looking it up right now?
No, Rob had $12 ticket. Yeah, it was $12.
It was $12. Jesus,
yeah.
That thing was that cheap.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And one thing I want to bring up too, what we got here, Dates with Plates was bringing up Aqueduct and Gulfstream, and as you compare them, and this is Mischievous Alex specifically, as you compare them to some of the other tracks, I agree. I actually don't love Gulfstream form going up to Saratoga. Aqueduct form is kind of hit or miss for me, but it's interesting when you see some of these Gulfstream horses come north and struggle, because I thought we've seen that a lot. The Safi angle where I'd never seen him have a meet like he'd been having at Saratoga, and all of a sudden it has definitely turned for him here. But man, everything he was putting out there was absolutely live late in the Belmont, early July at Belmont, and then early in the Saratoga meet. And now it's just, he seems like he's ice cold.
I saw that, and thanks for bringing that up. Yeah, when you say you don't trust non-championship meet Gulfstream, right? Is that what you mean by that? Like if they come up during the summer from Gulfstream, not if they were there in the wintertime.
Yep.
Actually, and you don't want the horses that were in New York in the winter and then went down. Yeah, that all makes sense. All right, anyways, I'll be back on Thursday with Andrew Champagne. We're going to be covering the late pick 4 sequence at Saratoga, which is going to include the Whitney. He is a huge fan of Swiss Skydiver, so I'm curious to see what he's going to do regarding Swiss Skydiver against the boys in the Whitney. Make sure you follow us on Twitter. I am at Curtis Kellaward. He is at SummerBomb18, number 1, number 8. Corporate Overlords at Racing_Dudes. Go to racingnews.com, check out the handicapping products page, the Summer Bombs. What Mike was talking about, he'll be covering Saratoga. Ricky's Rockets is up there, the premium products covering every race, every track around the country, including every Steve Asmussen runner. Aaron reported that he did not win the opener at Louisiana Downs, so we're still waiting. Still at 3. I'll be back on Thursday. Mike will be back next Monday. Until then, I'm Magic.
And I'm Mike.
Good luck this week.
The Magic Mike Show, where you hear the experts speak. The Magic Mike Show. Tune into the show every week. The Magic Mike Show. You can trust the show is the bomb because it's being brought to you by RacingDudes.com.